The rain outside hadn't stopped all night. Water slid slowly down the apartment windows. Cold, restless, just like her thoughts. Ara sat alone on the floor beside the couch. The television screen still showed the breaking news headline. Kang Tae-hyung returns to Seoul. His face filled the screen. Sharp suit, cold expression. Completely different from the man who burned ramen in her kitchen. Ara laughed quietly. But there was no humor in it. You lied. The apartment suddenly felt unfamiliar. Every memory now carried a different meaning. The expensive watch he tried to hide. The strange phone calls. The men searching for him. The way he looked at the city sometimes, like he belonged somewhere far away. And yet, he had smiled here, laughed here, lived here. Knock, knock, knock. The loud sound made her jump. Miss Kim, open the door, please. Reporters. Again, Ara stepped away from the window quickly. Her phone started vibrating non-stop. Unknown numbers, news notifications, messages from people she barely knew. Everything was chaos now. Then her phone rang again. Private number. Ara stared at it silently before answering. Hello? Silence. Then his voice. Low, tired. Ara. Her chest tightened painfully. For a moment, neither of them spoke, because there were too many things between them now. Finally, Ara whispered, who are you really? Taehyung stood alone inside his dark office in Seoul, city lights glowing behind him. He closed his eyes briefly, then answered honestly for the first time, my name is Kang Taeyang. Ara's fingers tightened around the phone. I'm the executive director of Hanel Group. The words felt unreal, heavy, cold. Ara laughed weakly. You're joking. I wish I was. Silence again, longer this time. Outside her apartment, camera flashes exploded endlessly. The young's voice became serious. You need to leave there immediately. What? The media found you. Ara looked toward the curtains nervously. Voices echoed outside. How did this happen? The young's jaw tightened. The board is using you against me. Ara frowned. The board? He leaned against the desk slowly. Tired, exhausted. There are things happening inside the company. What things? Taehyung didn't answer immediately because the truth was ugly. Corruption, illegal deals, destroyed companies, lives ruined for profit. And he had once been part of it. Finally, he said quietly, things I should have stopped a long time ago. Ara's heart sank. The silence between them changed now. No longer confusion, but disappointment. Then she asked the question he feared most. Did you ever tell me the truth? Taeyang looked out at the city, rain hitting the glass softly. Yes. Ara frowned slightly. My feelings for you. Her breath caught unexpectedly. For everything else? His voice lowered. I'm sorry. Outside, the reporters grew louder. Taehyung's expression hardened instantly. There's a car waiting downstairs. Ara blinked. What? Please, trust me one more time. Trust. The word hurt now, but before she could answer, the apartment light suddenly went out. Darkness filled the room instantly. Ara froze outside her door. Footsteps echoed slowly through the hallway, heavy, deliberate, not reporters this time, someone else. Ara. Taehyung's voice sharpened immediately. Lock the door. Too late. The doorknob started turning slowly, and for the first time, Ara realized this situation was far more dangerous than she thought. The apartment was completely dark. Only the distant flashes from outside cameras lit the room for seconds at a time. White light, then darkness again. Ara stared at the slowly turning doorknob. Her heartbeat pounded violently now. Ara. Taeyang's voice came sharply through the phone. Don't make a sound. The footsteps outside stopped. Silence, heavy, unnatural silence. Then, knock. One slow knock echoed through the apartment. Ara stepped backward carefully, trying not to breathe too loudly. Another knock came, harder this time. Ara. A male voice spoke calmly through the door. We just want to talk. Her stomach tightened instantly, because reporters didn't sound like that. Taehyung's expression darkened in soul. He already knew. The bird moved faster than expected. Ara, listen carefully. His voice lowered dangerously. There should be a back stairway near the kitchen. Ara looked toward the small hallway. Go now. The man knocked again. Louder. We know you are inside. Ara's hands trembled slightly as she moved quietly toward the kitchen. The apartment suddenly felt tiny, trapped outside the front door. Shadows moved beneath the crack of light. More than one person. Taeyang grabbed his car keys instantly. I'm coming there. What? No. But the call disconnected. Meanwhile, the man outside grew impatient. One voice muttered coldly, open it. Click. The lock started forcing open. Ara's eyes widened. Then she found the back stairway door, old, narrow, barely visible. Another loud crack came from the front entrance. The lock wouldn't hold much longer. Ara quickly pushed the stairway door open and rushed downward. Dark concrete stairs, cold air. Her breathing echoed loudly around her. Above, the apartment door finally burst open. Search the place. Ara covered her mouth instantly, hearing the voices from upstairs. Closer, closer. She kept moving downward carefully. But suddenly, footsteps echoed from below too. Ara froze in terror. Someone else was coming up the stairs. The narrow stairway suddenly felt suffocating. No escape above, no escape below. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then a familiar voice spoke softly through the darkness. Ara? Her eyes widened instantly. Taehyung. Relief crashed into her so suddenly she almost collapsed. He stepped upward into the faint emergency light. Black coat soaked from rain, breathing uneven, eyes sharp with tension. Ara, come here. She moved toward him immediately, almost without thinking. Upstairs, voices shouted angrily. They went downstairs. Taehyung grabbed her hand tightly. Warm, steady, run. And together, they disappeared into the storm outside. Rain poured endlessly across the empty streets. Taehyung pulled Ara toward a black car waiting nearby. She finally looked at him properly. Really looked at him. Not the awkward neighbor. Not the ramen burning idiot. But someone dangerous. Powerful. A man carrying an entire world of secrets behind his eyes. As the car sped into the night, Ara whispered softly, who are those people? Taehyung stared silently at the road ahead, then answered quietly, people who are afraid of the truth. But deep down, he knew the real danger hadn't started yet. Because the closer Ara got to him, the more dangerous her life would become. Rain blurred the city lights outside the car windows. Everything beyond the glass looked distant, unreachable. Inside the car, silence filled the space between them. Heavy silence. The kind that grows after trust breaks. Ara sat near the window quietly. Her wet sleeves clung to her hands, heart still racing from the apartment. Taehyung drove without speaking, eyes fixed on the empty road ahead, sharp, focused, but exhausted. Finally, Ara whispered softly, were they trying to hurt me? Taeyang tightened his grip on the steering wheel. Yes. The honesty shocked her more than lies would have. Ara looked down slowly. Everything had become too real. Minutes passed before she asked another question. Why? Taeyang exhaled quietly. Because the answer was complicated and ugly. Because they know you matter to me. Ara's chest tightened unexpectedly. Rain continued hitting the windows softly. For a moment, neither of them looked at each other. Then Ara laughed weakly. This sounds like one of my dramas. A faint smile appeared briefly on Taeyang's face. Told you corporate people are dangerous. But the smile disappeared quickly. Because reality wasn't romantic anymore. After nearly an hour, the car finally stopped near an isolated house hidden deep in the mountains. Warm lights glowed through the windows, snow beginning to mix with rain outside. Quiet, safe, far from Seoul. Taeyang stepped out first and opened her door. Ara stared at the house carefully. Where are we? A safe house. The word alone sounded frightening. Inside, the house felt strangely warm, fireplace burning softly, bookshelves lining the walls. A calmness completely opposite to the chaos outside. Ara slowly removed her coat, still overwhelmed, still confused. Then she noticed something near the fireplace. A framed photograph. Tae Young, younger, smiling naturally beside an older woman. Ara blinked slightly because she had never seen him smile like that before. Tae Young noticed her staring. His expression softened for the first time all night. My mother. Ara looked at the picture again quietly. She passed away years ago. Silence settled softly between them. Different this time. Not tense, not angry, just sad. Ara looked toward him carefully. For the first time, he didn't seem like a billionaire CEO. He looked lonely. Then suddenly, Taehyung's phone rang sharply. His expression changed instantly after reading the message. Cold again. Dangerous again. Ara noticed immediately. What happened? Taehyung didn't answer right away. Then he showed her the screen. A news headline. Hanewal Group executive accused of illegal corporate crimes. Below it, his photograph, every channel, every article, every screen. Ara looked up slowly. They're blaming you. Taehyung gave a faint, bitter smile. They're sacrificing me to save themselves. Outside, the storm grew heavier, wind hitting the windows hard now. Ara suddenly realized something terrifying. The man sitting in front of her, the man everyone feared, was completely alone. And somewhere deep inside, she didn't want him to be. Meanwhile, far away in Seoul, the chairman stood inside the dark boardroom quietly, watching the news coverage spread across every screen. Then he smiled slowly. Now let's see how much Kang Taeyang is willing to lose. The storm outside grew louder through the night. Rain mixed with snow against the windows, cold wind shaking the mountain house softly. But inside, neither of them could sleep. Ara sat quietly near the fireplace, blanket wrapped around her shoulders, watching the flames move slowly. Across the room, Taehyung stood beside the window, phone in hand, eyes distant. Something about him felt heavier tonight. Not angry, not cold, broken. Finally, Ara spoke softly. You should rest. Taehyung gave a faint smile without turning around. I forgot how. The answer hurt more than she expected. Silence settled again, warm firelight flickering gently between them. Then, a secure notification appeared on Taeyang's laptop. Encrypted file received. His expression changed instantly. Ara noticed immediately. What is it? Taeyang stared at the screen carefully. A backup archive. From who? He hesitated briefly. Someone inside the company. The file name alone made his chest tighten. Project Winter? Taeyang slowly opened it. Dozens of hidden reports appeared instantly. Illegal transfers, destroyed companies, bribed officials. confidential acquisitions, years of corruption. Ara watched his expression darken more and more. Then, suddenly, he froze completely. Ara frowned slightly. Taehyung, but he didn't answer. His eyes remained locked on one document, one old report buried deep inside the archive. Acquisition target Hansong Mediatek. Ara's breathing stopped instantly because she knew that company. Her father's company. Slowly, Taehyung opened the file. Every detail appeared clearly on screen: financial sabotage, forced bankruptcy, illegal pressure from investors, and finally, approval signature Kang Taehyung. The room became silent, painfully silent. Ara stared at the screen in disbelief. No, 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 no. Her voice trembled slightly. What is this? Taehyung's face lost all color because suddenly everything connected. Years ago, the board manipulated him, used him, turned him into the weapon that destroyed companies, including hers. Ara slowly stood up, eyes filling with tears. You destroyed my father's company? Taeyang looked at her helplessly. For the first time, truly helpless. I didn't know it was yours. But even as he said it, the excuse sounded meaningless. Ara laughed bitterly through tears. But you still did it. Every word hit harder than the last. My father almost died from stress. Taeyang closed his eyes briefly. My mother worked herself sick trying to save us. Ara's voice cracked completely now. And all this time, she looked at him like she no longer recognized him. It was you. The silence afterward felt unbearable, because this time there was no lie left to hide behind. Taeyang stepped closer slowly. Ara, don't. One word, soft, broken, but it stopped him instantly. Tears rolled silently down her face now. You sat there eating with me, smiling at me, while carrying this secret. The young's chest tightened painfully, because she was right. He had hidden the truth, even from himself. Finally, he whispered quietly, I'm sorry. Ara shook her head slowly. No. Her voice trembled. You don't get to apologize after destroying someone's life. Outside, thunder shook the mountain sky, and inside the warm, safe house, everything between them finally shattered.